Alright, we're off to make another trip. I'm using my GoPro again this time. Hopefully it doesn't randomly turn off. Otherwise I may have to start doing these on my phone. As per usual, I'll back out of my driveway manually. And then we'll get cruising on full self-driving. Here's an interesting thing too. I'm about to turn on the FSD, but you can swipe over and get a bigger view of what's going on the screen with full self-driving. I think there's also a setting where you can tell it to do that by default, and maybe it would have, but just as a point of note, you can also swipe it back and forth to get that bigger visualization, or to look at your navigation or other controls you want to have up. So right now, FSD is doing all of the driving, as you would expect, turning on the turn signal. Got a large bush over here to my right. It's a pain. You see how FSD, it does this all the time right now with 12.3.6. It stops a full car length back from the stop light, or the stop sign or a stop line on the ground, and then it inches up. And if you're in a hurry, you're definitely going to want to disengage FSD just to, make it where you're going faster. Which brings me to a point. So here's the infamous speed hump. Hey, it's slowing down. There we go. Notice it saw the car pulling out as well, the truck up here. So I break disengagements down into about 3 different categories. We have safety disengagements, which I've yet really to experience. So that would be if I disengage full self-driving because I feel like it's doing something wrong that might cause, an accident or do something unsafe. I haven't really had to do that yet. Most of my disengagements are preference. You see that I'm stopped. It's a little closer to the stop line, but this is a blind. This is kind of a blind turn here. It's gonna have to keep inching out, and it's gonna be looking with the cameras. We'll see what it does here. I'll prepare to take the wheel just in case. Back to disengagements. The second disengagement would be a navigational disengagement. So full self-driving is going to see the hesitation there. I do not like the hesitation with 12.3.6. It really just needs to gun it. The second type of disengagement I do is navigational disengagement. So, I'm putting in where I'm going. Get over FSD, thank you. Putting in where I'm going, but if I want to take a different direction, or if I wasn't paying attention and it picked a route for me, I may, take the wheel just because I want to go a different route that I forgot to program in. And then the third type of disengagement would be preferential. It's just my preference. Either it's not going fast enough. In this case, look at this, I'm straddling the lanes. Horrible with lane changes, 12.3.6. Whether I want to go a different speed or I want to be in a different lane, which often occurs at this intersection, most of my disengagements are preference disengagements. They're not related to safety. So about 90% of the time, if you see me take over the wheel, it's nothing against Tesla, nothing against full self-driving. It's purely my preference, but I feel like that's real life, right? Because while Tesla may drive safely, and it may drive in a way that, would be my preference if every car on the road had FSD, that'd be fine. But right now are still the early stages. I'm on the road with a lot of human drivers not using full self-driving, and they're going to react differently to an autonomous car than another autonomous car would. So, if it hesitates on lane changes, I'm going to take over, execute that lane change quickly. And so people around me know what's going on. And you see, even there, it kind of rode the white line a little bit. Didn't really get in the lane. Now, whenever you get somewhere, that's another one of my big complaints. I'll talk about that in a moment. Whenever it takes you to where you're going, it says press the accelerator to take over. But if I press the accelerator, it doesn't take over. It's still auto driving. So then I have to hit the brake, and then it complains, why'd you disengage? And another problem I have with that is, why would I press the accelerator to disengage? If I'm approaching a driveway If I'm in a parking lot, I certainly don't want to press the accelerator and potentially speed up to turn off self-driving. That's actually, I would consider, dangerous behavior. So I don't know why it says that. And we're here. We're gonna tap to park, and we'll try this again when I leave. All right, second trip today. We're gonna go to Starbucks and back home. But I wanted to mention, again, if you're new to the channel or new to Tesla and full self-driving, the current version I'm on, I don't know if you can see it here, is 12.3.6. A lot of my complaints right now with 12.3.6 are when it's changing lanes, it seems to kind of like go back and forth, like it's indecisive, and it kind of straddles the lane, or it won't go all the way over, which I have a big problem with that. So most of my disengagements may be if I get frustrated with that, or just, again, preferential. If I want to make a light, you know, right now I don't think FSD will accelerate to get you through a red light. I mean, if it's yellow, it'll go, but it won't like gun it like some of us like to do, right? So it's got some subtleties that you have to get used to. But I do hope that I get 12.4.2 or 3, whatever is out now, soon, because I believe it takes care of those lane changes that it just stutters, and it's really annoying, and it's confusing for other drivers on the road. Alright, so if you've never seen Tesla navigation before, it's got its own built-in navigation. Matter of fact, Tesla, it's kind of like its own operating system. It's got individual apps here. I've got a music app, I've got Apple Podcasts app, and these are not streaming from my phone. There is no CarPlay or Android Auto happening. These are apps built into the Tesla interface, which is really nice because it kind of frees you from your phone. Whereas other cars right now, you have to, you know, use CarPlay or Android Auto on your phone and stream it, and it really plays off your phone. In a Tesla, you're not using your phone, but you're using all those same apps, and it's actually a very, very pleasant change. But mainly, we've got Tesla navigation here, which will always take you to a supercharger if you need it. If it senses you're going to be low on charge, it'll automatically add one to your route. But right now, I'm going to, not only am I going home, I'm going to add a stop at Starbucks right here. And we'll see what FSD can do. And if you notice the quality of this video, it's going to be down from 4K. It's going to be to 1080p. I seem to have some trouble. The GoPro turned off on my video number 2 when I was driving. I don't know if my memory card can't handle the 4K writing to the disc that fast or what have you. But we're going to try this in 1080p and hope it still goes for the whole trip home. All right. Let's get with it. And if you've never driven a Tesla, just having these visualizations that you get from Tesla Vision is nice. You see the paint lines for the parking lines on the ground. You know, I've got a 2023 Chrysler Pacifica that has cameras all around, 360-degree view, and sometimes I'll use those cameras to see like the parking lines. Am I in the line or not? But it's nice that this just pulls it up without having to pull up the camera. It's just built into the vision aspect of full self-driving, which is wonderful. And even if you don't have full self-driving, you're still going to get this visualization pane here, which is fantastic. See all the cars, you can see the lights. It's great. We're going to engage full self-driving and go to Starbucks and head home. If you notice, I tend to talk a lot to fill the space, but I'll try not to. I'll try not to fill all the time with talking. We'll just let it drive, and I'll mention what happens if I disengage. By the way, while full self-driving is engaged, if you press on the brake pedal or turn the wheel, it'll automatically turn off. But you can press the accelerator while it's self-driving, and it will take that cue. And like here's a preference. I don't know why it won't take that turn lane. That's exactly how I'm going to go. I tried to do it and it wouldn't. I'm going to disengage and go in this lane. And I don't know why it wouldn't. I wanted to go around through that parking lot, which seems really out of the way. That would be a navigational disengagement. So not a safety thing. I probably could have gotten to Starbucks that way, but I don't want to. And I find that that's going to be what most common users, once they upgrade to Tesla, not the fan accounts, content creators that love Tesla. I mean, I love Tesla, but I'm not going to create an account and show you guys how full self-driving just solves every problem. I do think it's wonderful, but like I don't want to go that way, and I don't want to spend the time on this video to go out of my way just because that's what self-driving wants to do. I want to go the good way. So you may find that that's why you disengage sometimes, is simply because it's making not the best navigational choice. Not horrible, just not the best. And what I was mentioning before is that if you press the accelerator, it'll still stay in self-driving mode. As well, when it's full self-driving, if you turn on a turn signal, it'll actually take that as input, continue to self-drive, but it'll attempt to make the lane change or the turn that you want to make by pressing the turn signal, and I'll try and demonstrate that on the way home. Alright, and we're out. Gonna turn self-driving on mid-turn. See what happens. There we go. Again, it's always very cautious at stop signs. Can't blame it for that. You know, if I ever have a disengagement because I didn't like how it handled a stop, that's not a safety concern. It's just an annoyance, but a very real annoyance that everyone will feel, I'm sure. So see there, did a right turn on red, no issues at all. Oh, hang on. Issue with navigation. That was all me. It thinks I'm still going to Starbucks. Interesting. It didn't register me as having gone to Starbucks, even though I went through the drive-thru. But here we go. All right, heading home. You can see you get this really wide visualization of so many cars on the road at one time. It's fantastic. Much better than you can keep track of in your head and having to keep an eye on blind spots. This will show you cars in your blind spot. So, of course, you should always check your mirrors, but I definitely feel like I have a better sense of what's on the road while I have this visualization, which I think is wonderful. Bit of a hard slowdown there, but it's just keeping up with the cars ahead. See if it keeps rolling. Yeah, it's going to keep rolling. We do have a yield sign, but it handled that very well. It's got to get over 2 lanes now. Typically, these lane changes are not an issue. A little bit of hesitation there. I don't know if I picked it up on camera. But when it gets into this middle turn lane, that's where it tends to always hesitate or stutter. Yep, it went in, went out, came back in. There's cars behind me. Also here, I wish it would have gone. There's plenty of time. That's one of those preferences that will take people time to get used to. Definitely could have made that turn. I probably could have pressed on the accelerator and had it make the turn, but we're just going to let it do what it does. And oh yeah, it was going to try and make the turn, and then it saw that car come out of the truck's blind spot. Please don't go yet. Okay, I don't need this car. Pulling out. There we go. That was, I would say, it was a well executed turn. As much as I commented on it, I think it handled it fine. See if it hits the speed hump. The speed hump will become infamous in my videos. It tends to see it better this way. Going the other way, man, sometimes it kind of flies over them or hits the brakes at the last minute. It's a good turn. Now, when it gets to the end of the street here, you'll see something on a comment on it. It says press accelerator to take back control after it's done driving. It's just so weird. Like I commented before, why would I press the accelerator to start driving on my own? I'm at the end of a road here. See, press accelerator to resume. It's still driving. If I press the accelerator, it just speeds up. Let's see what it does here, because I always just turn it off and see what happens. Let's see what it does here. I'm just gonna act like right. Oh my gosh, it's going to my driveway. I've never done this before. I'm gonna be very cautious. Let's see what it does. You know what? I'll take it. I'll turn that off. I'm actually gonna back up and charge. So I would say that was a good drive. I do have one drive that I know it struggles with. That'll probably be my next drive. So stay tuned for the next video. Like and subscribe. Thank you.